Hi, Dr. Muhammad Soed Salim. My name is Jia Xuan. Today, I will be presenting my initial research proposal for the module of Business Research Method. The title of my research proposal is The Impact of Leadership Transparency and Ethical Practices on Corporate Trust in Organization. This presentation will provide an overview of the study, including the research background, problem statement, theoretical frameworks, research objectives, literature review, methodology, significance, and conclusions. In today's corporate environments, expectations toward leadership behavior have shifted significantly. Employees increasingly demand transparent communications, ethical decision-making, and responsible leaderships. Transparency and ethics are no longer optional traits. They are essential for building trust, reducing uncertainty, and creating a healthy organizational culture. As trust becomes a fundamental element for collaborations, engagements, and performance, understanding how leadership transparency and ethical practices influence trust is not only academically relevant, but also practically important for modern organizations. Despite of growing emphasis on ethical and transparent leaderships, many organizations continue to struggle with issues that weaken trust. First, communications gap often arise when leaders fail to provide clear explanations for decisions. Second, unethical practices such as favoritism, inconsistency, or misuse of authority reduce employee confidence. These factors contribute to an overall decline in trust, leading to disengagements, dissatisfactions, and higher turnover in tensions. The key research gap here is the lack of study that examine transparency and ethical practices together, and how both jointly influence trust, especially within the Malaysian context. This gap forms the basis of my research problems. This study is guided by two fundamental theories. The first is social exchange theory, which suggests that trust is built through fair and reciprocal exchange between leaders and employees. When leaders communicate honestly, employees are more likely to respond with trust and commitments. The second is ethical leadership theory, which emphasizes moral behavior, fairness, and integrity. Ethical leaders model appropriate conduct and create an environment where trust naturally develops. By combining both theories, we can better understand how transparency and ethics work together to shape trust in organizational settings. The overarching purpose of this research is to examine how leadership transparency and ethical practices influence corporate trust. More specifically, the research objectives are to determine whether leadership transparency enhances trust in organizations. Second is to examine how ethical leadership practices influence employee trust. Third is to analyze the combined effect of transparency and ethics on trust. And finally, to identify whether ethical practices have a stronger influence on trust compared to transparency. These objectives guide the direction of this study and help formulate testable hypotheses. Existing literature shows that transparency and ethics are key drivers of trust, but they are often studied individually. First, transparency reduces uncertainty, allows employees to feel informed and respected. Second, ethical behavior enhances fairness, shaping positive employee perceptions and reinforcing moral standards. However, studies examine the joint effects of transparency and ethics remains limited. Additionally, there is a clear research gap in the Malaysian context, where leadership style and trust dynamics may differ due to cultural and organizational factors. These literature gaps highlight the importance and relevance of the present studies. Based on the review literature, the following hypotheses have been developed. First is leadership transparency positively influence organizational trust. Second is ethical practices significantly influence corporate trust. Third is transparency and ethics together have a combined effect that enhance trust. Fourth is ethical practices are expected to be a stronger predictor of trust than transparency alone. This hypothesis will guide the analysis and help determine which leadership factors play the most significant role in shaping trust. This study will adopt a quantitative cross-sectional design, allowing data to be collected at one point in time to examine relationships between the variables. A purposive sampling method will be used to target Malaysian employees who have direct experience interacting with organizational leaders. The sample size for this study will range from 150 to 200 respondents, which is appropriate for statistical testing and ensure sufficient reliability. This methodological approach supports the accuracy and validity of the findings. Data will be collected using an online questionnaire consisting of linked skills items ranging from strongly disagree to strongly agree. The questionnaire will include items measuring leadership transparency, ethical leadership practices, and corporate trust. Once data is collected, SPSS software will be used to conduct the analysis. The key statistical techniques include reliability analysis to ensure measurement consistency, correlations analysis to identify relationship between variables, and multiple regressions analysis to test the hypothesis and assess the predictive strengths of transparency and ethics on trust. This analytical approach provides robust insights to the impact of leadership's behavior on trust. This research is significant in several ways. From an academic perspective, it contributes to understanding how transparency and ethical leadership collectively influence trust, an area with limited research. From a government's perspective, the study supports efforts to improve ethical leadership practices, which are aligned with national priorities on integrity and accountability. From an industry perspective, the findings can help organizations strengthen leadership development, improve communications practices, and build trust-based workplace cultures. Overall, these research offer meaningful contributions to both theory and practice. In conclusions, this research proposal addresses important organizational challenges related to leadership transparency, ethical practices, and corporate trust. By examining these factors together, this study aims to provide deeper insights into how leaders can cultivate trust and build healthier organizational environments. Thank you.